How can we write to multiple tables in a database by maintaining one-to-many relationship? Before we get started, we need to understand a table relationship. As you see here, there are four different types of relationship between any two tables: one-to-one, many-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. There are two different formats to design CDT for these relationship. First one is going to be nested, and the second one is going to be a flat. Nested CDT type implementation will be done for the tables having one-to-one and many-to-one relationship. Similarly, if the table has one-to-many or many-to-many, then Appian recommends to go with flat design. Let's discuss one-to-one relationship in detail. In this example, I have taken user table as well as salary table. User table has got three records: Mike, Smith, and Robert. And the salary table also has got three records with the salary 4,000, 3,000, and 5,000. Will you be able to tell me what is Mike's salary? Okay. Will you be able to tell me the employee name whose salary is 5,000? Okay. So in fact, you won't be able to answer these two questions because there is no relationship between user table and the salary table. How can we achieve this? To do that, we have to introduce a foreign key in the salary table. Now, the highlighted part, you can see user ID 1, 2, 3. These are being added by extracting the ID from the user table. Now, if you ask me what is Mike's salary, what I'm going to do is I will try to find Mike's ID. Let's go back. I will find out Mike's ID. In this case, it's 1. Then I will try to find the corresponding salary from the salary table where user ID is equal to 1. In this case, Mike's ID is 1. For user ID 1, the salary is going to be 4,000. That means Mike's salary is going to be 4,000. Similarly, if I want to find out name of the employee whose salary is 5,000, so what I'm going to do is directly I will come to salary table. I will check for the salary with 5,000. So in this case, this is my record which I am interested in. So for this salary 5,000, I will try to find the user ID. In this case, it is 3. Then I will go back to user table and search for the employee. In this case, employee with the ID 3 is going to be Robert. Let's move on to the next relationship, that is many to one. In this case, I do have a user table and the department table. My user table has got 4 records and department table has got 3 records. Now, will you be able to tell me where exactly Mike works? Or will you be able to tell me the name of the employee who is in the marketing department and works from Delhi? Right, you won't be able to answer these two questions because again there is no relationship. So how can we implement this? To do that, we have to introduce a foreign key in the user table. In this case, department ID has been introduced as a foreign key in the user table. Now, let's go back and try to answer the same question. In order to find out Mike's department, what I'm going to do is I will look for Mike in the user table and I will search his department ID. In this case, is 100. Then I will go back to department table and look for department ID 100 and I'll get the department name as sales. Next, I wanted to find out the employees who is in the who belongs to department marketing and works from location Delhi. So I will go to department table. I will try to find out the ID. In this case, is going to be marketing and Delhi. ID is going to be 101. Then I will come back to user table and try to look for department ID with 101. In this case, this is the record. And Robert belongs to marketing team and he works from Delhi. I hope a many to one concept is clear to you. Next relationship is going to be one to many. To demonstrate that, I have taken user table and leave table. So in my user table, I do have 3 records, and in the leave table, I do have 3 records. Okay, now again, a couple of questions. Will you be able to tell me whether Mike has taken the whether Mike has applied any leave, or will you be able to tell me a name of the person who has applied sick leave for 2 days? Without foreign key concept, without primary key foreign key concept, you won't be able to answer these 2 questions. In order to answer this question, we have to introduce the foreign key in leave table. Now, to answer the same question, whether Mike has applied any leave, what I'm going to do is I will try to find out the ID of the employee Mike. So in this case, Mike's ID is going to be 1. Then I will come back to leave table and I look for user ID having value 1. In this case, I will see 2 records with the value 1. So this particular record belongs to Mike and this record also belongs to Mike. What does it mean? It means Mike has applied sick leave for 1 day and he also applied vacation leave for 4 days. Now, we can find out who has applied sick leave for 2 days. So I look for sick and 2 days. I'll try to find employee ID here, that is user ID 2, and I will go back to my user table 2, and this is the employee who has applied sick leave. Smith ID is 2. 2 has been again mapped to this record, and he has applied sick leave for 2 days. However, Robert has not applied any leaves. He has not applied sick leave. He has not applied vacation, because in the leave table, you don't see user ID with the value 3. Okay. Next, we'll go to many-to-many relationship. For this, I have considered 2 tables, user table and the skill matrix table. User table has got 3 columns, ID, name, and email, and it also has 3 records. Similarly, skill matrix has got just 2 columns, ID and skills, and it has got 4 records, Java, .NET, Appian, and Pega. Now, one user can have multiple skill set. For example, Mike can work on Java, .NET, and Appian. Or let's say consider Robert. Robert can work on low-code platform tools, maybe Appian and Pega. He may not be knowing Java and .NET. So one user can have multiple skill sets. Also, from the skill matrix side, one particular technology is known to many employees. Say, for example, .NET, Smith knows .NET and Robert also knows .NET. Appian is known to Mike as well as Robert. So this way, one user can have multiple skill set and one technology is known to many users. How can we establish such relationship? To do that, we have to introduce one more new table. It is known as intersection table. What we are going to do here is we are going to have primary key of the both the table, in this case id from the user table and id from the skill matrix table. Now, looking at the intersection table, you should be able to analyze the user and their skill set. For example, user id 1 has got skill set 101. User id 2 also has got skill set 101. What it means is user id 1 and 2, that is Mike and Smith, knows skill id 101. 101 is stands for Java. So Mike and Smith knows Java. That is what it shows. Similarly, user id 1 knows 102. That means user id 1, in this case Mike, knows .NET. The first two records says that Mike and Smith knows Java. This record, third record, tells me that Mike also knows .NET. Next, employee 3, that is Robert. Robert has got two skill set, Robert 103 and 102. That is, Robert knows .NET and Appian. So Pega, no one knows in this team, because you don't see in the intersection table, you don't see user skill ID for Pega, that is 104. You don't see over here. Today we are going to work on one-to-many relationship in Appian. For that, we are going to create two tables, customer and the claims table. The requirement is user should be able to insert customer information into the customer table and their claims information into claims table. Remember, one customer can have a multiple claims. By this, we are going to configure one-to-many relationship between customer and the claims table. One more important point I need to mention here. We are going with Appian recommended CDD design. In this case, it's going to be a flat design. So let's get started. I have also noted down a few high-level steps. The first step is going to be database changes. We have to create customer table and claims table for this project. Then we have to create CDT, data store, constant interface. We will use process model and we will call smart service to insert the data into the database. And finally, we are going to test and validate our code and configuration changes. This is my customer table design looks like, and the claims table also looks pretty straightforward. The first step, I'm going to insert a record into the customer table. After inserting the record, my table looks like something like this. After that, I'm going to extract primary key ID. In this case, it's going to be 1. And I will insert my claims information with the customer ID as 1. So I'm going to extract ID value and I'm going to insert here. Of course, this primary key ID 101 will be created by the database, and this ID is also created by the database, and remaining information we will be passing through the interface. To make it more clear, we are using write to data store entity to write into customer table and the claims table. Once the record is inserted to customer table, we will use script task to extract the value and assigning it to customer ID column.